That cool?
Let me see.
Open, don't vibrate.
Good afternoon, members of the media. First of all, let me introduce the members from the hotels and also the docks. On my immediate left is Brother Herbie Baskin, the president of the hotel division of the BIU, and Brother Kim Tucker, who is the vice president of the division. On my immediate right is Brother Otis Minas, who is the president of the docks, and next to Brother Otis is Brother Troy Smith, the secretary of the division. There are two issues we're going to discuss today, and it relates to the hotels and the docks. Certainly, you would have seen the article in the World Gazette last week. I think it's dated August 20th from Mr. Warren Jones, the CEO from Stevedoring Services, pointing out that as a result of the pandemic, cargo volumes are down, and the management team have to make some serious decisions. I think Mr. Jones highlighted that the company right now has 45 staff on payroll at present, but that number is expected to drop next year to 34 as 9 employees will retire with no replacements. The firm goes on to say that they have made a decision to also outsource the garage. Mr. Jones says in the article also that he's very disappointed that there was a letter that he sent to the agents, and is very disappointed that that letter managed to get to members of the public. Certainly, whilst I understand Mr. Jones' concern, I think the question needs to be asked, is that letter that was sent to the agents has some pertinent information in there as relates to our members, the BIU members. When you speak about outsourcing the garage, the question should be asked, what business is that of the agents about the outsourcing of the garage? Because the last time we checked, the agents don't pay not 1 cent for the mechanics, whether it's regular time or whether it's overtime. So why would there be any concerns of the agents that Stevedoring Services made a decision to outsource the garage? In addition to that, I can tell you that I'm not sure, and I can't speak to it. Maybe you can. I think, Mr. Bell, you interviewed or you took this statement from Mr. Jones. Rather, it was a written statement. I'm not sure if you asked him any questions, but certainly I am a bit surprised that this is dated the 20th. On August the 17th, which would have been Monday morning at 8 o'clock, Mr. Jones would have received a letter from the Poor Workers Division of the BIU stating that as a result of management's decision to outsource the garage, the workers have taken a decision to suspend overtime indefinitely, starting from August 24th. That letter was given to him on the 17th of August. Why did he not say something about it in this article? Why? That's an important issue. And what's interesting, I just spoke to Independent Trucker before I came in a few moments ago, they still don't know anything about the letter. Why not? Why not put it out there? Because if you're going to put management's position out there, you should put also that the workers, it's making it seem like the workers are okay with them making the garage redundant. The workers are not okay. If they were okay, they wouldn't have given the employer, and according to the CBA, 5 days notice to suspend overtime for a period of time. It says indefinite period of time. It's clear. In addition to that, I think that whilst Mr. Jones is quick to point out how bad things are in 2020, I'm not sure if you want to go back and look at 2019, 2018 as to how well things were going. Just about every employer in this country is struggling with the pandemic. You would know that the government approached the TUC about concessions. You would be aware that there are a few other areas that the BIU represents that also approached us for concessions. We'll have a conversation in a moment about the hotel sector, the Bermuda Hotel Association. Understanding that but we are doing what we can to assist our social partners in this current pandemic. And we tried to do the exact same thing for Stevedoring services. So it became a little bit concerning to us when it looks like they had made up their mind that they're going to outsource the garage. I looked up and down the CBA. Nowhere in the CBA that does it say that the management outsource any department on the docks. So consequently, I think that the union has been very concerned about some things done at the Hampton Docks, so much so that we wrote a letter to the chairman of the board, Ms. Sharhaver Chu, in March, requesting a meeting with the board, with their board and our board, and that was to have a conversation about full reports that Stevedoring Service have received, survey reports on issues at the docks. I'm not at liberty to tell you who produced those full reports. All I can tell you is full reports have been produced. 2017, 18, and 19 by one individual. A 2018 report of December 2018 from a separate individual that also produced a report. And it addressed some very, very serious concerns on the Hamilton docks. So what we were attempting to do is reach out to the board to see if we can have a conversation, because we saw things coming off the rails. That's the vision we had. I got a letter back from the chairman of the board to say, because we sent out a letter, got a letter back from Ms. Sharhaver Chu, says, well, our relationship is actually with the Port Records Division of the BIU and not the BIU. So we prefer for these issues to be dealt with in JCC, and if the division wants to have a conversation, then that's a different story. I know Brother OJ sent a request to the chairman to see whether or not they can have an audience with the board, and also he intended to bring along at least one or two board members with him when he came. These issues, as I said, were very concerning, and certainly, let me just highlight just a couple of things for you. This is a report of 2000 and, well, the whole 3 years here, 17, 18, 19. Look what it says, working conditions. In 2017, they say the working conditions were about 66%. In 2018, it's 64. In 2019, this is not highlighted by Chris Furbert, it's highlighted in yellow by Mr. Jones. It's 55.3%. 55.3% in 2019, working conditions. Two other examples. You're talking about management and staff have a good working relationship. In 2017, it was 55.5. 2018, it went up a bit, 66.6. Look what happens in 2019. It's now 46.5%. These are the alarm bells that were going off that the union felt maybe we need to have a conversation with the board about some issues. The final point is that management is very responsive to staff concerns. 2017, 72%. 2018, 74%. Look what happens in 2019. It's now 55%. It's dropped almost 20 percentage points. Almost 20. So you can imagine, you can appreciate how we were concerned about our members, and we reached out to the board to see if we can have a conversation. And that is very important, because also the 2018 report that I speak about, it lays out a framework. It says the basic framework for implementation has been agreed to in principle. 2018, one out in 2020. You know. Here's what they speak about. They got the issue, they got the causes and solutions. One of the issues was a lack of professionalism. Speaks about inconsistency in regarding rules and policies and procedures, favoritism. That's one of the causes that's identified in this separate report. So these issues are very concerning, was very concerning, is very concerning to us, and now we have a situation where the management has said, you know what, we're going to outsource the garage, and we had meetings to try to find the cost savings for the employer. We've done everything we could, and they have made up their mind that they're going down this path. Final point I'll make on the docks, the Port Records of the Division of the BIU agreed that as the president of the BIU, they wanted me to sign a joint letter with Stevedoring Services to submit to the Corporation of Hamilton so they can get the license renewed. So in November last year, we submitted that letter. We submitted the letter in good faith to work with the management team. The BIU, Port Records Division of the BIU, has always supported Stevedoring Services. So that's enough. One all saying, well, if this is not seem like it's going in the other direction, maybe the support that we're giving you to get your license, maybe we withdraw that support. So I can tell you that I said this to Mr. Jones right in this very hole, that I'm not sure you want to go down the path you're going down. So I can tell you that as of Friday, Mr. Patrick Cooper, who the initial letter went to from Stevedoring Services, that the Stevedoring Service and the Port Workers of the BIU are supporting us as a joint letter to get our license. We have sent Mr. Cooper a letter now, withdrawing our support of that letter. And he was given that letter on Friday. And that decision was taken by the division. We had a divisional meeting, and they voted 100% that letter should be sent. 27 people voted yes. So I guess everyone's wondering, well, what happened to this positive working relationship that the Port Workers Division of the BIU had with Stevedoring Services? I can't answer that in a nutshell. What I can tell you, there are some issues done at Stevedoring Services that must be dealt with by the management team. Yeah, the workers have got some minor issues, but for the main, and the main meaning that when you have people that come to the union ranks and you go up in management and you forget where you came from, it has to be highlighted. Because now you have the operations manager, without calling his name, supporting outsourcing the garage. Former president of the division, a former president, supporting the outsourcing of a garage. Totally unacceptable. Next item is hotels. You may or may not be aware that the HEB, along with, as I said earlier, a lot of our other social partners came to us and asked us for an MOU. We had some concerns about some of the issues that they wanted us to take to our members, so we flushed them out as best we could. Ultimately, any decision that's made by the hotel team, along with the executives, the Sister Molly as the chief organizer, Sister Ronnie Brothers as the organizer, myself as the chief negotiator, all that is subject to the approval of the membership. Always been that way. So when people hear, well, the union agreed, well, no, we agreed in principle, subject to the approval of the membership. So if the membership turns around and says, Brother Chris, Brother Herbie, Brother Kim, Molly, Ronnie, I got news for you. We're not agreeing to that. That's that decision. And we tell the management team that this is subject to the approval of the membership. Negotiations operate the exact same way. If we're sitting around the table and we agree to 3% in principle, subject to the approval of the membership. We take it back to the membership says, sorry, but that ain't good enough. Go back to the table, get me some more. So we go back. And that's why we always say to the management team, subject to the approval of the membership. Why? Because we don't work for ourselves, we work for them. So this proposal that we talked to our members, our hotel members, we had 5 meetings to take the proposal to our hotel members. 2 meetings for how up at Fairmont Southampton, 3 meetings for out at Hamilton Princess, and the members rejected the MOU. I think one of the main reasons why they objected, and I'm not saying it's the only reason, but one of the main reasons why is that what the HEB was looking for is that they wanted the hotels to have 60%, 3 months consecutive, or 3 months of 60%, and then the MOU will fall away. We felt 60% was too high, so we made it 50%. But then I don't want to say that, but it also has to be a combination of the, let's just say 6 hotel properties. Each one of them properties has to be doing at least 60, 4 of them has to be doing at least 60%, because if 3 of them are doing 60% and 3 of them are doing 30%, the average comes back to 45. So that means the MOU don't fall away. So it was a big issue with that, and I think recognizing that, maybe it should be each individual property that comes to get the MOU. That way, if that property is doing well and they're doing over 50% occupancy for 3 months, then the MOU will fall away. As opposed to you being tied to all these other hotels and us leaving the MOU in place for a year, when it probably should have stayed in place for about 9 months. So that was a key issue that we needed to work through, understanding that it was going to be some challenges. I can't tell you now that Fairmont Hamilton have taken our advice, because what we tried to advise the management team, these are 3 issues that was put on the table for our members. If you want to go back and have a conversation with our members now about an MOU, please do not take the same 3 items back. If you do that, the organizer, Sister Ronnie, Sister Molly, and myself are not coming to that meeting. We're not. Because we simply can't sit in front of the membership presenting a proposal that's already been rejected. You got to change the proposal or not. If you change it around and the members agree, then fine. So that's what they did. They changed it around, they dropped 1 item out, they put these 2 items on the table. They had a meeting Monday afternoon and yesterday morning, and the members have agreed to the MOU that they've asked for. 2 items, mainly rest days and days off, that they be paid at straight time for this period of time. And if interesting, because I think Hamilton Princess is unique in a way because they shared the members the occupancy for the 17, 18, and 19. Only 1 month in 17 it was below 50%. Only 1 month in 18 it was below 50%, and only 1 month in 19 it was below 50%. So the hotels have a pretty good track record post pandemic. So let's just make that point that the airways do extremely well, and I think we've always highlighted that's one hotel that we've always thought done extremely well as it relates to their income and their expenses. So, having said that, I'm apologizing because I know that they are not here, but I have to put this out there because I just want the media to understand that if you get information from one of our members, and let's just be clear, if you get information from one of our members, before you print any story, please make every effort to reach out to the BIU. Now, if you refuse to give a comment, then you can print whatever you like. But please do not print stories when you know the story is not true. You might say, that's a pretty profound statement. I'm telling you, that's a fact. Because interesting, so I won't call the media, but when you say that one of our members say that, oh, we rejected that proposal, you know that that's not true. Why? The BIU printed the results of the government workers' vote at Fairmont Sound and Princess on the front page of the Workers' Voice. The front page. Not just that, we broke it down. This results for the first meeting, that's results for the second meeting, and that's results for the third meeting. So if you, as a member, thought that you, whatever meeting you thought you was in, every meeting that you attended, first, second, or third, all agreed to the proposal by a clear majority. A clear majority. So how you give this story that we rejected the government's 10%? How? What are they based on? You might have already known. That's like the U.S. when they elected Donald Trump in 2016. Donald Trump won the Electoral College. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, you know. That's a fact. But you can't print this. And here's what matters get worse. You go over the page, and I know this individual knows that this is not true because I was on Fresh TV, and that individual called in to ask a question. And I had just finished telling Mr. Warren that the BIU executives are on a 3-day work week. I made it crystal clear. Everyone is on a 3-day work week. So why would you print this that the executives are going to get in full pay? Why would you print that? You should have said to the member, hold on, that's not true. Why? Because I've heard the president say that they're on a 3-day work week. But you would print this. And this is printed on the 17th of August. The agreement that we got was way back on the 29th and 30th of June. I've said at least on 6 occasions that the BIU staff have been on a 3-day work week since the first week of April. I said at least 12 times. I said it twice on Mr. Warren's show. So how do you print this 2 weeks later that the members telling you this and one not accepting what they're saying because they're on to get enough full pay? How you be that irresponsible? So it looks like the president said that you're on a 3-day work week, but it looks like it's lying. I'm lying? Well, go inside and ask your staff what their pay has been like since the first week of April. Go ask them. And we've had 11, 13 hospital meetings, and we stood up here and told there's members that the staff have been on a 3-day work week since April. So I will be telling our members that the staff, and this member thinks, well, he knows something different, completely different. I don't think that people are being, if you're trying to be mischievous, then you better be very careful because this is libelous, I'm telling you that. Particularly when you know that it's not true. I'm not sure if Brother Herbie or Brother Troy or Brother OJ or Kim wants to add anything because certainly any questions that you ask me today, I want to make sure that since we're talking about the docks, we've got representatives from the docks, we're talking about the hotels, we've got representatives from the hotels because I don't want the public to say about the president just set up, he talked about the hotels, talked about the docks, but you know what's really going on? Well, it's not her, they can tell you. Any questions? Unless you want to add anything before we, yeah? Sure. Sure. Come, no, we could do like they do on TV, man. When you press conference, let's swap chairs, man. Swap chairs.
Good afternoon, everybody. I came here today just to highlight the proposals that were proposed between the management proposal and the union proposal. Management proposed, which you saw in the papers in the Royal Gazette, they proposed $1 million savings by not replacing 9 employees and outsourcing the garage. Our proposal from the union side of things is we're proposing a $2 million savings with keeping the garage. And to be a little clearer on the outsourcing of the garage, if management is saving $1 million to outsource the garage, and the garage costing $500,000, then they're only saving $500,000. Well, our proposal is to actually saving $2 million. And another thing that was to highlight the garage is that these guys been basically told that they could be made redundant, and then they got to sign a contract to see who they're being hired by. But we don't know who they're being hired by. We don't know what they're getting paid, and we don't know their benefits. So I just want to highlight those 2 points to the media and the public.
Senator, any questions?
What do your proposals include that provide the extra $1 million in savings?
4 days a week for the entire staff, overtime cuts, staff cuts, and wages cuts. And that's not even including any overtime cuts. That's just the wages cuts and the staff cuts.
But I think it's important to know, and I have to add this, the proposal, it was 3 options. We had an option of 1 day's pay. We had an option of 10% reduction. We had an option of a 5% reduction. We had them 3 options on the table. And what I said to the management team when we came back, when we came back on the Friday, I said, what I'd like to do is take the 20% one off the table, which was 1 day's pay, and put the 10% option on the table. 10% reduction in pay, tying that to some of the things that the government did, a 10% reduction in pay. If workers can save about 5% in pension contributions and save on social insurance, then maybe only be out of pocket about 2%. So that's the proposal we put in front of management. Even though on the Wednesday we talked about 1 day's pay, we came back on the Friday and just talked about 10% as opposed to a 20% reduction in pay. Because it was going to go across the entire company, which would have meant our members as well as the management team.
Mr. Furbert highlighted the dissatisfaction on the docks, and he mentioned favoritism being one of the issues. What are some of the other issues that have led to unsatisfactory conditions?
One of them is just lack of inconsistency, different things for different situations that arise.
So Mr. Furbert mentioned that told the corporation that you're withdrawing the support for the Stevedoring services license. Is it? It'd be great if you guys would be able to tell us a bit about what the implications are for that. I hear that. Is this going to threaten? What's that going to do with the docks? Does it just mean that a different company can come in? Could you walk us through that a bit?
I won't elaborate on that. I just think it's important that we come to some type of compromise, because we are in a space where we do care about our company and we do care about our country, and the two connect together. You know what I mean? But it's supporting people that basically support us. And that's very important that we tie the relationship together. We're connected together to understand how it has an impact on us. We have like 6 members that are going to basically might not be guaranteed to have a job. So that's 6 families that are going to be suffering. Then they got to depend on the government for finances, which puts the government in further debt. So we're looking at the impact of what it has on us and our members.
I remember looking at the docks, the garage part in that letter, and thinking that, ooh, I did see that, there was a line in there, I'm going off memory, that where they said something basically like no jobs would be lost, all those employees would be kept. But I guess what I've just learned is that they don't know what the new conditions are gonna be, or even who it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is the mood like among these workers then?
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll switch chairs. Playing musical chairs. Yeah, in that contract that the workers were receiving, in the fine print, it says they're entitled to an interview. So it's nothing guaranteed that they're gonna get a job. The company was just setting up an interview process for them. So the new company could say, I interviewed them, but I'm not guaranteeing them a job. And that's all it promised them.
If the job was guaranteed, would that make a difference?
No.
there the possibility of the option of industrial action over this down there?
Industrial action?
Yeah.
Not at this time.
One question I had for you folks, it may not be appropriate, but I know, I mean, there's been, particularly in hotels, there's been a ton of people laid off who've been on unemployment benefits.
Yeah.
Those benefits are coming to an end for lots and lots of people. What's the mood like
Yeah.
among these workers?
Yeah.
I mean, are people being left without food on the table? You know, it seems like there's still, things aren't really picking up there, but these benefits are coming to an end.
Yeah. So let me let Brother Harvey make a comment, and then I'll make a comment after Brother Harvey, right? Okay, let's do that. So, Chief?
Yeah. How are you all? I just want to make a comment based on the hotel division and based on what Brother Chris said about misinformation. What happened, the MOU that we presented to our membership, we really believe that it should have been accepted because the Code Act 19 is something special, is something new. None of us has never been involved in it. And our main concern was to try to get as many hotels back, open up so that we can put as many Bermudians back to work. We tried to do that. But I think what confused our membership a lot is the misinformation that is coming from the press. Because when we sat with our membership, and they said something about the hotel was opened up on September the 1st, I'm talking about Southampton Princess, there's no way that hotel could open up on September the 1st. So I'm thinking, before they put that type of information out, I think we should try to get at least some clarification or what's happening, what's not happening. Because it confused our membership, because our membership's been out there for probably nearly 6 months now. And they have, you know, and they're frustrated because Bermuda is not, it's one of the most expensive countries to live in the world. And people cannot live without paycheck in this country. So we are trying our best to see as much, to get as many Bermudians back to work as we possibly can. But we also need help from the press, because if the press puts misinformation out there, it puts us in a really bad state. You know, so we would like for the press to work with us, at least that if you feel that you get information from any one of our members, just call the president of the BIU or try to get the hotel manager, get the information, put it out, because it makes it much easier for us to represent our workers. Because if you got one thing in the paper, if we go to the table with something different, our members look at us as if we're lying to them and we're hurling things back on them, and that is not fair. Because especially this organization has always worked for the interests of the membership in this country all the time. So we'd just like your support and try to get the right information out. If you can't get it, just seek for information from us. Okay?
So in relationship to this unemployment benefit, and understanding what the government has said about the unemployment benefit, it was initially put on the table to, I guess, to fast track people to get money, because the time frame that it takes to fill out the financial assistance forms, it could take you a month or 6 weeks to get on that, and the government knew that people are were going to need money right away. The issue right now is that this is the opinion of the BIU. It may not be an opinion of other unions or other employers. But I don't believe that we don't believe you should be forcing people to go on financial assistance. Financial assistance, everywhere has been done on a voluntary basis. Somebody decides, you know what, I really can't make ends meet, so I go make an application for financial assistance. If this pandemic is you know, the end of it is not going to be for another 15 to 18 months, why not just leave the people that want to be on financial assistance and have some kind of, and I heard Minister Haver say, well, if you're not qualified for financial assistance, then you could go on a supplemental. So why just make it very simple? Financial assistance is over here, and the supplemental, whatever you're calling it, is over here. So the paperwork for this benefit, maybe it's 2 pages, it might be 4. You just need some pertinent information. As opposed to you got a stack of papers like this that you got to fill out, and that's very frustrating for the staff, for the workers. So understanding that, this benefit is going to be coming to an end. This pandemic wasn't created by the workers. It certainly wasn't created by the government, and it wasn't created by the employer. But certainly we've got to work through this together as a country to come out of it. And I think that if we can put a structure in place that allows, people to be on an unemployment benefit, here's what I said to our members yesterday, and I made it crystal clear. If you got a phone call from the employer to come to work, and you decide you're not coming to work, you can't do that, okay? You can't. What can happen there? If they say, well, I only have 2 days of work for you, what the government should be doing, okay, that person goes to work for 2 days, by the time they take out their deduction, they got a zero check. What the government says now, instead of giving you a $500 unemployment benefit, I'll give you $200 just to cover everything. And I think that will be the correct way to set that up, so people are not abusing the system. Because first of all, if you're hired as a room attendant, or if you're hired as a bartender, and I'm calling you to come to work, you can't say you're not coming, because you think that this unemployment benefit is more than what you can get here, so I'm staying over here. You can't do that. That's not correct. And I think that the government had some issues with that in the back end of the unemployment benefit, but going forward, we should have a better structure when we're looking to give people unemployment benefit. Any further questions?
Yeah, I'm really trying to figure out, with these hotel workers, how many people are now, don't have this benefit, or they're waiting on financial assistance, which can take forever to get?
Okay.
I mean, do we have a rough idea how many people are affected?
All I can tell you that the last number that I got, and this was several weeks ago, but that number's changed now, there's still roughly about 1,700 to 1,900 workers that's still unemployed in the hotel sector. Now, whether that number changes now because Princess has decided to reopen, does that allow, if they have 50% of their staff working, does this concession now allow them, for all of them to come back to work? All of them may not get back to work because it's going to be based on hotel occupancy. So if the hotels only got 20%, 30% off, you got to know that they're not going to have all the staff working. So the bigger issue is the redundancy. And I say that respectfully. It's a big issue because, our members feel that, this 4 months that we've been laid off, they think that they should be entitled to redundancy pay. And I try to make it clear to them that you have the Employment Act and then you have the collective agreement. You simply can't confuse the two. You can't ask for us to institute redundancy under the Employment Act 2000 because it speaks of 4 months, but you want to be paid in accordance with the CBA. Why? Because it's different. If you've been working in the industry for 30 years and you're now entitled to 52 weeks pay, that's redundancy pay, in the Employment Act is only 26 weeks, so you can lose 26 weeks pay. So you can't choose to go over here for this and then run back over here to the CBA. The CBA guides us as it relates to redundancy. And what triggers the time frame for redundancy in the CBA is the BIU executives, along with the members, to say, well, Brother Chris, how much time we can get in before we let them know that we think we should be made redundant? We have to be very careful about that, because remember now, you're talking about ending your employment. Whilst they can give you a check for $10,000 or $15,000, how far is that really going to go? Because now all your seniority is going. People are saying, well, don't worry about that. So all your senior vacation time, sick time, and all of that is going. And if we can get a guarantee, well, I'll make that staff redundant today, but I'll give you back a job tomorrow. It's no guarantee if I make you redundant today, I'm going to give you back a job tomorrow, unless we put that as one of the conditions. So we'll now put this out there to our members that whilst we understand the challenge that Fairmont has and understand a few other properties because people have said they're not open until next year April. Well, you know the example of Williston, because I think whilst I disagree with Mr. Kitson when he first done it, I understand the reason why he done it. He said he wanted to put some money in my member's pocket. So in the end, who am I to tell my member, well, no, I'm not going to let you take that benefit. So they made all our staff redundant. If they understand the hotel's going to reopen on April 1st, and the staff they're going to be rehired. That's a good thing. That's very positive. So understanding these are unprecedented times, and we got to make sure we conduct the I course at T, and we're going to work together to get that done.
I just had two more questions.
Sure.
We're hearing of maybe, farm workers are going to be leaving, and that includes hotel workers.
Who's that leaving?
Hearing talk of it, but.
Who's leaving?
Farm workers.
The farm workers?
Is there anything in line for Bermudans who are still out of work to be able to step into some kind of role or retrain within the hotels if there are farm workers leaving?
Well, certainly I think that the new minister, Minister Hayward, has said that, people should look to be retrained and understanding that, people who are on work permits, the government is giving very serious thought to renewing work permits, and if they're not needed, then they probably, and I don't want to make it sound cool, but, you know, some of those are our members, you know, but recognizing the point that I think the Premier made when people were first going back to work, he says he wanted Bermudas to be first, even though that was, you know, that was a violation of the CBA. We took that on the chin and told our members, look, we know what the CBA says about seniority, but because the Premier is saying he wants Bermuda to come first, we just said this don't set the precedence, we're allowing that to take place. So we're certainly got to look at that, you know, on a case by case basis, and make sure we make the correct decisions. Any final questions? Nope. Well, thank you. If you think about any other questions, you can email me, and I'll do what I can to get you the answers.